I've been skimming through the meeting here, and they're talking about the G4S right now, and Bethel is gonna make some comments here, which I think are worthy to save.
We wanted to provide a much stronger presence after the events at the Hollywood Transit Center earlier this year in May. Second, we've also had additional call on both servicing major events as well as the track interruption, the track replacement programs. G4S has been instrumental in helping us make sure that we cover all those staffing issues. So with that additional usage, it's used up the fuel.
Now, I don't know how many people actually, I guess, a couple hundred people or so actually read my post about this. I put on my blog a list of the agenda items that are going to be brought up here, and one of them was G4S. And I mentioned to it how G4S is a very controversial police state adjunct in the world. It's a worldwide organization, and it's huge. It's bigger than Walmart. There's a story in the Financial Times about it. It's not somebody that a local transit agency should be using, as far as I'm concerned, because that's like using Blackwater or something like that. But we already know that TriMet is government. Forget the word TriMet and use the word government, because that's what it is. It's government. So we already know that government is the main purveyor of money for the military-industrial complex as well as the police-industrial complex. So they support the complex, and the complex has no relation to the citizens in terms of any kind of positive impact. So let's keep going here.
In a tank, so to speak. So we cannot get to the end of the contract without a modification. We are expecting these level of services to continue. We know that the expectation of a...
Oh yeah, in case you didn't know, they already had $5 million contract. They want to add another $5 million. It's actually more. They want to add more than $5 million. So, where do they come up with? Where does TriMet just come up with these millions? They just come up with millions of extra dollars for the shit they want. But you can't get an extra bus on Route 97 or whatever that ridiculous route is that they have running from Sherwood to Tualatin.
Public is for a safe and secure system. We know that this is an important building block. It's not the only building block, but it's an important element of that overall security system that we provide for the for our riders.
Yeah, well, that's good, because nobody really sees any of the security anywhere. I mean, that's my impression. They're never around when you need them, or they're hiding way in the far reaches of a parking lot somewhere.
Just to note that related to this contract, it would increase the contract from 5.4 million to about 10.2.
Yeah, see?
Excuse me, I'll get it out, yeah. 10.6 million.
10.6. So that's $5 million more.
Again, it really just represents the additional usage of these services we've had. We have found G4S to be very responsive. So for example, in May, when we asked for additional personnel, they polled very far and wide to make sure that they were able to provide those services for us, and we're very thankful for that responsiveness, and have been a good contractor for us. So with that, we recommend your approval. I do know Alex Ubadias is here if there's any questions from the safety and security staff.
Questions for staff on this agenda item? Okay. No. Okay. Want to answer?
Here comes.
I'm quickly again looking at the diversity numbers. I'm not very pleased at all with G4S's performance in terms of what it's doing with diversity. I understand that they talk about that they're self-performing, made a commitment to be between 7 and 10% in contract amount in terms of using certified firms, and to date it's only used 2% of the contract amount. And now we are getting ready to double them again to go through. With this diversity record for G4S, just something I cannot support. In this day and time and age, it's time out to continue to allow companies to say they will self-perform, and what the intention seems to prove out to us in our communities is that they don't perform at all. They can.
Yeah, every now and then, Sleepy over here will do something which is kind of like has some morality to it, and he's calling out their lack of diversity. I mean, they're a bad company. Just do some research on them yourself. Just Google G4S complaints or G4S criticism, and you'll see all kinds of negative stuff about these people. And so it's well known that they're very sketch as it is.
Continue to skate by, get the increases, and nothing different changes. So for me, G4S needs to step up to the table, do what it promised it can do, and not just prevail into they're going to self-perform. And in their own self-performance, what makes up their company?
We probably should have included their own employment statistics. I think you'd find them very representative of the community in general.
Right.
But I don't have those numbers with me. Do you, Alex, have any of the sort of EEO numbers for G4S?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Alex CBS again, and with regard to your diversity question, that is very, very important to us as an agency, as well as the community, as you said. With regard to the RFP that originally went out for G4S's original contract, they did go out and contact 6 firms. I can provide a list of those firms if you'd like, but 6 firms, and out of the 6, there's actually only 1 firm that did respond to their request, and that is a firm that goes by the name of ACE. And unfortunately, because of the size of their firm being a DBE, they have a limited capacity, and even they were unable to fill a lot of our service requests that we made to G4S. So we are trying. G4S also has a process. It's about a 5-step process to ensure that they're able to bring on a subcontractor, a DBE, if you will, and we continue to stress that. As you know, there's been a lot, as the general manager has touched on. There's been a lot of need to use security services on the system. So,
Well, he said
I would appreciate the additional information.
We'll make sure we get it to you.
So, Dr. Bethel, are you comfortable moving forward with this today, or do you need that information first? I want to make sure I understand where you are.
I'm going to stick with Dr. Bethel.
I'll stick with Bethel.
So let me
somebody
ask
else.
this:
That's 3.
can we defer this to our next business meeting and have some more detail on the firm, and maybe have them appear before us and outline what they're going to do to help change these numbers a bit?
My recollection is we are running up to some limits. And your next business meeting is not until, well, you could do it in November, you could add it to that agenda, but November 8th. I suspect we could get to that point, but I don't think we could get to the December meeting without affecting the continuation of service.
Well, I mean, I think it's a relatively, should be a relatively easy number to ascertain. It's basically what is the makeup of their, since they self-perform, I mean, what's the diversity numbers that they currently have? I mean, that's an important number that, we've talked about consistently as a board, as an agency, that we want to make sure that we're attentive to. And so is their current, makeup of their organization.
Well, he'll pontificate for a while. We don't need to listen to his pontification. Well, let me tell you how this works in case you don't know. They'll hem and haw a little bit and pretend that they're concerned about these things, but the pattern 100% of the time is that the contract goes through. There's 100% certainty that this contract will go through, even with all of the questions that are coming out. Let's hear.
What we'll do is we'll have some action items on November 8th also. You're okay with that, Mr. General Manager?
Yes.
Okay, good. And what I'd say is get the information.
Yeah, I would give you 100 to 1 that this goes through, because I've never seen, you know, I've watched these for years, and I've never seen a proposed funding agreement by the general manager rejected. So it's all theater.